In this video I'm covering EU economic sanctions. You will learn how new sanctions or changes to existing sanctions regimes are agreed across the bloc, who is responsible for sanctions implementation in each EU country, and at the end of the video I will also show you a free tool giving you access to detailed information on all EU active sanctions regimes. So let's jump right into today's video. Welcome to FinCrime Agent, my channel where every week I cover a different topic to boost your awareness about anti-money laundering and financial crime prevention. As it stands across other Western countries, also in the EU, economic sanctions, which are also known as restrictive measures, are a crucial instrument in the EU's common foreign and security policy, allowing the EU to avoid military responses when reacting to developing or ongoing crises. EU economic sanctions usually target non-EU nations, businesses and persons identified as responsible for those problematic behaviors. The objectives of EU sanctions as stated on the European Commission portal are promoting international peace and security, preventing conflicts, supporting democracy, the rule of law and human rights, and defending the principle of international law. At the time of this video, the EU has over 40 sanctions. The UN Security Council mandates some of those programs, while the EU is also implementing others. Let's now see who is deciding about sanctions changes in the EU. On the basis of recommendations received from the High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, the EU Council is in charge to adopt, renew or lift sanctions. The European Commission and High Representative turns this decision into EU legislation via joint Council regulation proposals. And the EU Commission also oversees the rollout of sanctions program, ensuring all EU bloc states are all compliant. The type of measures applied by EU sanctions are also similar to the measures used by other Western states, for example, measures like arms embargoes, restrictions on admission, which is also known as travel bans, asset freeze. Other economic measures such as a restriction on import and export can be used by the EU as sanctions against non-EU government, businesses, organizations, groups or people. Let's now talk about the competent authorities for the implementation and enforcement of EU sanctions. But before we do that, if you're finding interesting the content I'm presenting in this video, please subscribe to my channel and press the thumb up on this video to help the video spread more on YouTube. So thanks for doing that. The implementation and enforcement of EU sanctions, as well as the detection of violation and imposition of sanctions, are the responsibility of each EU member state. Although, as we mentioned earlier, the EU Commission advises member states and regulates the proper and consistent application of EU sanctions. There is an official document on the European Commission portal where they publish the national competent authorities for sanctions, with contact information for the relevant competent authorities at the country level for each single EU member state. On that very same page, you can, of course, access the EU Sanctions Consolidated List or the EU Sanctions Map. The EU Sanctions Map is a very useful tool if you work in economic sanctions, as it offers thorough information on all EU sanctions regimes and the laws that support them, including those that were approved by the UN Security Council and implemented at the EU level. And remember, this is a free tool. I published before also another video covering economic sanctions from the US perspective, so I will leave you a link at the end of this video if you want to find out how OFAC and US sanctions work. And that's all for today. If you're finding valuable my content, press the thumb up on this video and leave me a comment right below. And also check the video description for useful links and references from my research. And lastly, thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed today's video, and until next time, see you soon.